hidden dangers of excessive complaining and explaining, and more importantly, how to shift your mindset to one that exudes confidence, decisiveness, and resilience. By the end, you'll understand why true strength comes from silence, how to let your results speak for themselves, and how to develop an unshakable presence that commands attention. It's time to break free from habits that undermine your potential and embrace the power of self-assured composure. Let's dive in. Number 1. The hidden costs of complaining. Complaining is an instinctive reaction to frustration, disappointment, or perceived injustice. People complain for various reasons, sometimes to vent emotions, sometimes to seek validation from others, and often to avoid taking responsibility for their circumstances. While it may feel like a temporary relief, the habit of complaining comes with hidden costs that can have long-term consequences on one's mindset, relationships, and success. Neuroscientists have found that the brain rewires itself based on repeated thought patterns, meaning that the more you complain, the more your brain becomes wired for negativity. Over time, this reinforces a victim mentality, making it harder to see opportunities and solutions. Instead of taking action, chronic complainers develop an identity around their problems, believing that external forces control their lives. This not only reduces problem-solving skills but also lowers self-esteem, making it increasingly difficult to break free from cycles of negativity. Beyond its impact on the mind, constant complaining can be incredibly damaging to personal and professional relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who exude positivity, resilience, and confidence. When someone consistently complains, they unknowingly repel others, as negativity is emotionally draining to be around. Colleagues may see them as weak or unreliable. Friends may distance themselves, and opportunities may slip away without them realizing why. No one wants to surround themselves with someone who always finds a reason to be unhappy or dissatisfied. In a professional setting, a person who frequently complains about their workload, colleagues, or management may be viewed as incapable of handling challenges, which can hinder career growth. On the other hand, those who focus on solutions, no matter how difficult the situation, tend to be recognized as leaders and problem solvers. Consider the stories of highly successful individuals who made a conscious effort to eliminate complaints from their lives. Many self-made entrepreneurs, athletes, and influential leaders understand that complaining is a distraction from progress. Take Elon Musk, for example. His companies have faced countless challenges, from financial struggles to technical failures, yet he has never wasted time complaining about setbacks. Instead, he focuses entirely on finding solutions, adapting to change, and moving forward. Similarly, Oprah Winfrey, who faced significant hardships in her early life, chose not to dwell on her struggles but instead focused on creating opportunities and inspiring others. Their ability to remain solution-oriented rather than falling into cycles of negativity is a significant reason behind their massive success. Breaking the habit of complaining requires conscious effort and discipline, but it is entirely possible. The first step is self-awareness. Pay attention to how often you complain and what triggers these moments. Are you complaining out of habit, for attention, or to avoid facing the real issue? Once you identify your triggers, replace complaints with proactive thinking. Instead of saying, "This situation is unfair," ask, "What can I do to change it?" Another effective strategy is practicing gratitude. The human brain cannot focus on appreciation and negativity at the same time, so by making gratitude a daily practice, you naturally shift your mindset toward a more positive outlook. Journaling a few things you're grateful for each day can make a significant difference. Surrounding yourself with solution-oriented individuals also plays a crucial role. When you spend time with people who focus on possibilities rather than problems, you begin to adopt the same mindset. Finally, commit to a no-complaining challenge for a set period, such as a week or a month. Every time you catch yourself about to complain, pause and reframe your thought process to look for a productive response instead. Choosing to eliminate complaints from your life is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that difficulties don't exist. It's about shifting your focus from dwelling on problems to actively seeking solutions. The ability to maintain composure in difficult situations and respond with a proactive mindset is what sets successful individuals apart from those who remain stuck in frustration and inaction. By removing complaints from your daily habits, you not only rewire your brain for resilience and confidence, but also become the type of person others respect, admire, and want to be around. Number 2. Why over-explaining weakens you. People often feel the need to explain themselves out of fear of judgment, a deep-seated desire for approval, or a lack of confidence in their decisions. From childhood, many are conditioned to believe that they must justify their actions to avoid disappointing others or facing criticism. This habit carries into adulthood, where individuals over-explain to coworkers, friends, or even strangers to prove they have good intentions or to avoid conflict. However, over-explaining is not a sign of strength. It is a subtle admission of insecurity. When someone repeatedly justifies their decisions, they unconsciously signal to others that they are unsure of themselves, seeking permission or validation rather than standing firmly in their choices. Whether in personal relationships or professional settings, excessive explanations make one seem less confident, eroding the respect of others. In leadership and high-stakes situations, powerful individuals do not waste time justifying every decision. They understand that over-explaining not only weakens their authority but also dilutes the impact of their words. Think of influential figures in business, politics, and entertainment. When they speak, they do so with clarity and brevity. They do not ramble, justify unnecessarily, or try to convince others of their worth. Instead, they state their position clearly and let their actions speak for themselves. This principle is evident in figures like Steve Jobs, who is known for his concise, confident communication. When announcing revolutionary Apple products, he never over-explained. He simply presented the vision and allowed the product to demonstrate its value. This kind of communication commands attention and respect because it projects certainty and authority. The less is more communication strategy is a fundamental tool for asserting power and confidence. Instead of justifying why you made a choice, simply state it. For example, rather than saying, "I can't come to the meeting because I have another obligation and I feel really bad about it," a confident person would say, "I won't be available for that meeting." The former invites negotiation and unnecessary discussion, while the latter establishes a boundary without explanation. Similarly, when declining an invitation or opportunity, there is no need to provide excessive reasoning. A simple "that doesn't work for me" is enough. By reducing unnecessary justifications, individuals train themselves to communicate with authority, leaving no room for doubt or manipulation. Developing the skill of concise, confident speech requires practice. A practical exercise is to challenge yourself to give direct answers in everyday conversations without falling into the trap of justifying. The next time someone asks why you made a decision, resist the urge to explain excessively. Instead, give a straightforward response and observe the reaction. Another exercise is to write down statements and revise them to be more concise. For instance, instead of saying, "I think I should take the new job because the current one isn't fulfilling, and I feel like I need a change," reframe it as, "I've decided to take the new job because it's the right move for me." The difference is subtle yet powerful. Additionally, adopting pauses in speech can enhance communication effectiveness. Instead of rushing to fill silence with justifications, allow a brief pause after making a statement. This not only conveys confidence, but also prevents the habit of over-explaining from taking over. Breaking the cycle of over-explaining does not mean becoming cold or dismissive. It simply means valuing your words and recognizing that true confidence does not require validation from others. When you reduce the need to justify, you project certainty, making it clear that your decisions are made with intention. Over time, this shift in communication transforms how others perceive you and, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. You begin to trust your own judgment more, strengthening your self-worth and presence. In personal relationships, this allows for more balanced dynamics where respect is mutual rather than based on seeking approval. In professional environments, it establishes you as a decisive, respected individual whose words carry weight. The key to influence and authority is not in explaining yourself to everyone, but in standing firm in your choices, knowing that true confidence speaks for itself. Number 3. How successful people master control through silence. Successful individuals throughout history have mastered the art of control through silence. embodying the never complain, never explain philosophy as a tool for power, influence, and respect. Figures like Winston Churchill, Queen Elizabeth II, and Steve Jobs understood that restraint in speech is often more impactful than speaking excessively. Winston Churchill, though known for his powerful oratory, also knew when to withhold words, using silence as a strategic tool in diplomacy and wartime leadership. His measured responses, especially in moments of crisis, conveyed authority and control, leaving others hanging on to every word he did choose to speak. Queen Elizabeth II built her reign on the principle of composure, rarely reacting to public criticism or controversy. By refusing to explain herself or engage in public disputes, she maintained an air of mystery and dignity, ensuring that her authority remained unquestionable. Similarly, Steve Jobs used silence to his advantage in both business negotiations and public presentations. His ability to pause before responding, avoiding unnecessary justifications, and allowing his work to speak for itself elevated his presence and influence in the tech world. Silence is a powerful tool because it creates an air of mystery, intrigue, and respect. People naturally value those who do not overshare or seek approval, as their restraint signals confidence and strength. When an individual remains silent in moments where most people would rush to fill the space with explanations or complaints, they command attention. In contrast, those who talk excessively or justify their actions often appear insecure or eager to please. Consider how high-status individuals operate in professional and social settings. They do not divulge every thought, emotion, or struggle to others. Instead, they speak with intention, understanding that less is often more. This principle is particularly evident in leadership. A leader who constantly complains or over-explains loses credibility, while one who remains composed, choosing their words carefully, gains authority and influence. Mastering control through silence requires strategic techniques such as knowing when to stay quiet and practicing stoic detachment. Strategic silence involves understanding that not every situation requires a response. When faced with criticism, conflict, or unnecessary questions, choosing to say nothing can be a more powerful statement than engaging in an argument. This is why some of the most respected figures in history were known for their ability to listen more than they spoke. The ability to pause before responding rather than reacting impulsively conveys strength and thoughtfulness. Another essential technique is stoic detachment, which involves controlling emotional reactions to external judgments or provocations. Those who practice stoic detachment do not allow criticism or negativity to dictate their actions. Instead of feeling the need to defend themselves, they remain unbothered, knowing that their worth is not defined by the opinions of others. This approach is seen in highly successful entrepreneurs, politicians, and public figures who maintain their composure in high-pressure situations. By refusing to be swayed by external noise, they establish themselves as unwavering forces of confidence and influence. Implementing the power of silence in daily life starts with self-awareness. Observing personal communication patterns is the first step toward mastering restraint. Many people do not realize how often they speak unnecessarily, filling conversations with justifications, complaints, or nervous chatter. By becoming more conscious of these habits, individuals can begin to practice intentional silence. In conversations, rather than rushing to respond, pausing and considering whether words are necessary allows for stronger, more impactful communication. Another practical exercise is to resist the urge to explain decisions. The next time someone questions a choice, instead of justifying it, simply state it with certainty. For example, instead of saying, "I can't make it because I have a lot going on and I feel bad about it," a simple "I won't be able to make it" is enough. Additionally, embracing silence in moments of discomfort, whether in negotiations, disagreements, or social situations, can shift the balance of power in one's favor. The person who speaks the least often holds the most control because they are not seeking validation or approval from others. The ability to master control through silence is a skill that sets high achievers apart from the rest. It allows individuals to maintain their dignity, avoid unnecessary conflicts, and project an image of confidence and self-sufficiency. Whether in personal relationships, professional environments, or public life, the principle of never complain, never explain serves as a foundation for commanding respect. Those who practice this philosophy do not waste energy on justifications or negativity. Instead, they focus on action, letting their results speak for themselves. In a world filled with noise and constant explanations, the power of silence remains one of the most effective tools for influence, success, and personal growth. Number 4, building an unshakable mindset. Building an unshakable mindset requires a strong foundation of self-discipline, self-confidence, and emotional control. The philosophy of never complain, never explain is not just about external behavior, but about cultivating an internal state of resilience and certainty. This transformation does not happen overnight, but with consistent practice and intentional effort, anyone can develop the mental fortitude necessary to remain composed under pressure, resist the urge to seek validation, and maintain control over their own emotions and actions. The key to achieving this level of self-mastery lies in daily habits that reinforce mental strength, including mindfulness, journaling, and meditation. Mindfulness helps individuals become more aware of their thoughts and emotional triggers, allowing them to pause before reacting. It teaches a person to observe their impulses, whether it's the urge to complain, explain, or seek reassurance, without acting on them. Journaling, on the other hand, provides an outlet for self-reflection, allowing individuals to process their emotions privately rather than relying on external validation. By writing down frustrations, challenges, and accomplishments, a person can develop greater self-awareness and reinforce a problem-solving mindset rather than a victim mentality. Meditation further enhances emotional control by training the mind to stay present, reducing anxiety and the need for external reassurance. Through consistent meditation practice, individuals can cultivate a sense of inner peace, which allows them to remain calm and unaffected in the face of criticism, setbacks, or misunderstandings. Beyond internal practices, setting clear personal standards and boundaries plays a crucial role in eliminating the need to complain or explain. People who frequently find themselves justifying their actions or venting frustrations to others often lack well-defined principles and expectations for their own lives. When an individual establishes personal standards, whether it's in relationships, work ethic, or self-respect, they no longer feel the need to explain their choices. Their actions align with their internal values, and external validation becomes irrelevant. For example, if someone has a personal rule to never engage in gossip, they won't feel pressured to justify their silence in a conversation filled with rumors. Similarly, if a person commits to handling problems privately rather than venting to others, they cultivate a mindset that seeks solutions instead of sympathy. Establishing boundaries is equally important because it prevents situations where one might feel compelled to over-explain or complain. This means being selective about who has access to your time, energy, and emotions. It also involves knowing when to disengage from conversations that invite negativity or unnecessary justifications. A strong boundary might include refusing to entertain discussions that encourage complaining or walking away from interactions where you feel pressured to defend your choices. The clearer your boundaries, the less you will feel the need to explain yourself or dwell on external negativity. Shifting from a reactive mindset to a proactive, composed one requires a step-by-step approach. The first step is to develop awareness of your current habits. Pay attention to how often you complain or explain yourself unnecessarily throughout the day. Are you venting frustrations to coworkers? Are you justifying simple decisions like declining an invitation? Identifying these patterns is crucial because awareness is the foundation of change. The second step is to pause before speaking. Giving yourself a moment to determine whether your words are necessary. If a response is not required or does not serve a productive purpose, practice holding back. For example, if a coworker complains about a work assignment, instead of joining in the negativity, either redirect the conversation towards solutions or remain silent. The third step is to replace complaining with action. Rather than vocalizing frustrations, shift your focus to what you can control. If you find yourself tempted to complain about an unfair situation, ask yourself, what can I do to improve this? Taking action, no matter how small, is far more productive than dwelling on grievances. The fourth step is to practice short, confident statements instead of lengthy explanations. When declining an invitation, instead of saying, "I wish I could come, but I have so much going on and I just don't have the time," simply say, "I won't be able to make it." The more you practice brevity in communication, the more confident and decisive you will appear. The final step is to embrace silence and stillness. People who talk less and listen more naturally command respect because their words carry weight. Practicing silence in conversations allows you to observe more, respond with intention, and avoid unnecessary justifications. Developing an unshakable mindset is a continuous process that requires patience and dedication. The more you cultivate self-awareness, establish strong boundaries, and adopt proactive habits, the more you will naturally embody the never complain, never explain philosophy. Over time, this approach will not only enhance your personal confidence but also elevate the way others perceive you. People respect those who are in control of their emotions, who do not seek validation, and who carry themselves with quiet strength. By integrating these practices into your daily life, you will find yourself free from the exhausting need to justify every decision or dwell on negativity. Instead, you will move through life with a sense of calm authority, allowing your actions and presence to speak louder than words. Taking back your power begins with understanding that complaining and over-explaining do more harm than good. When you constantly complain, you reinforce a victim mentality, teaching yourself and others that you are powerless over your circumstances. Likewise, when you over-explain, you subtly communicate insecurity, as though you need permission or validation for your decisions. In contrast, those who carry themselves with quiet confidence, who choose their words carefully and let their actions speak for themselves, naturally command respect. The most powerful people in the world are not the ones who seek sympathy or endlessly justify their choices. They are the ones who move with certainty, handle challenges with grace, and refuse to be controlled by external opinions. True strength does not come from making excuses, defending every action, or vocalizing frustrations. It comes from self-assurance, from knowing your worth, and from understanding that not everything requires a response. When you adopt the mindset of never complain, never explain, you shift from being reactive to being proactive. You stop wasting energy on things outside your control and instead focus on the areas where you can make a real difference. This shift does not mean suppressing your emotions or ignoring challenges. It means dealing with them in a way that is constructive and empowering rather than indulgent and self-defeating. Practicing silence is one of the most effective ways to strengthen your presence and authority. When you speak less, people listen more. When you refuse to complain, you naturally stand out from the crowd, as most people waste time and energy lamenting their problems rather than solving them. When you eliminate unnecessary explanations, you demonstrate confidence in your own decisions, sending the message that you do not need external approval to move forward. Making these adjustments may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you have been conditioned to seek validation or use words as a way to cope with stress. But over time, as you practice restraint and discipline in your communication, you will notice a profound change not only in how others perceive you but in how you perceive yourself. You will begin to feel a new sense of control over your life, no longer ruled by impulse or the need to prove yourself to others. Instead of focusing on what you cannot change, you will focus